Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hope all of you are doing well. So, this is going to be my predictions for WWE's NXT Stand and Deliver, which will be tomorrow morning. This weekend is WrestleMania weekend. We've got the Hall of Fame, we've got Stand and Deliver, and then we've got night one and night two of the grandest stage of them all, WrestleMania. And I'm a little late on these predictions, but I figured, better late than never. So this is just who I feel will win these matches. It's not necessarily going to be, spoilers or anything like that. It's just a prediction on how I feel the way things are going and who I feel are going to win. Um, WrestleMania, one of my all-time favorite pay-per-views, or PLE, whatever you want to call it. It's on my bucket list to eventually go to a WrestleMania. Raise the money, get some good seats, get the whole experience. Um, Even if I just get the opportunity to go to one WrestleMania, I'm fine with that. I've been to a WWE live show, once. That's it. One time, and I enjoyed it. For some odd reason, they haven't come to Pensacola. That's where I went to see them and had a good time. This was many years ago, but and to throw it out there on how long ago it was, Cody Rhodes wasn't even in the WWE. That just shows how many years ago it was. But nonetheless, I do want to eventually, go to more shows. Brawl, SmackDown, those are on my bucket list. An NXT showing, and then some of the big pay-per-views, Survivor Series, SummerSlam, WrestleMania, and Royal Rumble, and Money in the Bank. I'm big fan of ladder matches. Excuse me, been drinking my coffee, so I apologize. My voice is getting a little raspy. Been up for a few hours, but still trying to wake up. But nonetheless, so those are on my bucket list. So hopefully down the road I'll be able to. But let's go ahead and get into it. We got 7 matches in total. No particular order, so let's get into it. We've got the Meta 4, Lash Legend, and Jakara Jackson taking on Fatal Influence, which is Fallon Henley and JC Jane, versus Tatum Paxley, Gigi Dolan, versus Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade. This is a fatal 4-way to determine the number 1 contenders for the WWE tag team women's tag team championships. It's going to be a good match. But I feel like it's going to come down to 2 teams, which are the Meta 4, which is Lash Legends and Jakara Jackson, and Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade. This is WrestleMania weekend. So, the Raw and SmackDown after WrestleMania, this is where we either see returns, which Rusev, Aleister Black is supposed to be returning to WrestleMania, supposedly, to take on Orton. But it's also NXT call-ups. And I feel like Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade are those 2 who are getting called up. Who are, I personally feel, are going to go against Liv Morgan and Raquel, and are actually going to win those titles. I could be wrong, but that's how I feel. So I am going with Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade. There's not much for them to do. I mean, yes, Cora Jade could have had an opportunity to win the singles title, which unfortunately she was only able to do the NXT Tag Team Championships, and then they got rid of them, which to me I think was a little ridiculous. But yeah, I would definitely like to see Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade win, which would make a perfect sense, especially if they are going to be called up. They've been on NXT for a while, so I think it's only right to get them called up. So I'm going with Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade. Next, we have a ladder match for the vacant NXT Women's North American Championship. When they introduced the title, it started in a ladder match, and now we have a ladder match to determine the vacant title. It was vacant due to Stephanie Valkyr having the NXT Women's Championship after she defeated Julia, who had to basically be sidelined for just a small amount of time due to an injury. But we have Zarya versus Kalani Jordan versus Sol Ruka versus Izzy Dame versus Lola Vice and Thea Hall. It's going to be a really good match, but it's very hard on who's going to win. I feel like this is going to determine Zarya and Sol Ruka's friendship. Kalani Jordan could retain, or not retain, could pick up the win there. Thea Hall could be getting a push. Or Thea Hale. I apologize for butchering her name. It's hard because all these women are really good. But it just really determines on who they're looking to push for this. So I'm just gonna go on a stretch here, and I'm going with Zarya. I feel like she needs it. I feel like they brought her in. They played those, video packages to really get her, to get the fans behind her, show that she could be a dominant force. And with her debut, I mean, they've been putting her in tag teams and things like that, which I don't really care for, especially when you're bringing somebody new to the roster. So I feel like if they really want to be behind her, they really need to give her this push and have her win this title. So I'm going on a stretch here with Zarya picking up the win in this ladder match and becoming the new Women's North American champion. We have a fatal four-way for the NXT Women's Championship. We have Stephanie Valkyr, who is the champion, taking on Julia, Jordan Grace, and Jada Parker. This is going to be a good match. I would say Stephanie Valkyr is going to retain. I mean, it makes more sense. She just won the title. But if they're really, it's WrestleMania weekend, a lot of times titles change. I mean, a lot of times when they put a title on somebody, there's that possible chance that they have a short line in NXT and they go to the main roster. And that could happen with Stephanie Valkyr. Julia could pick up that championship back. But I think they're going to go with Jordan Grace. Jordan Grace is a really big name. They wanted to sign her. She had been in two or three Royal Rumble matches. Excuse me. I apologize. Two, I believe, under the TNA brand, but now she's part of WWE. And she's one of those big names that I feel like NXT is really high on to put her at the very top. So I'm going on a stretch on this one, and I'm going with Jordan Grace becoming the new WWE NXT Women's Champion. We have a tag team match for the NXT Tag Team Championships. We have Nathan Fraser and Axiom, known as Fraxium, taking on Hank Walker and Tink Ledger, Hank and Tank as they're called. This is going to be a good match. Nathan Fraser and Axiom have been champions for a while, and they just had Nathan Fraser on SmackDown, I believe, for Rey Fenix's debut. So there's that possibility they are going to transition them to the main roster. I don't know what brand, whether that's NXT. I mean, man, I'm really all over the place here. I don't know if that's going to be SmackDown or Raw. I would say more Raw. I feel like Raw needs just a little more tag teams on that brand compared to SmackDown. This is going to be hard. I think they're really trying to push Hank and Tink to be big top stars, and I feel like with the recent appearance from the WWE, SmackDown champions, the world, what are they? WWE World Champions or WWE Tag Team Champions. I don't know what they're calling the tag team titles and things like that. But I feel like that's gonna kind of give them that motivation to really make a name for themselves. And I'm going on a stretch on this one. I feel like Hank and Tank are going to beat Fraxium and end their run as champions, and Hank and Tank are going to be the new champions. They're not going to hold the titles very long. I feel like another tag team is going to take them from them. That's just my opinion, but it's going to be good. So yeah, Hank and Tank. Next, we have a North American Championship match as Ricky Saints, the absolute Ricky Saints, taking on Ethan Page. This is going to be a good match. WWE is really big on both names. You know, they were in AEW. Ethan Page was in TNA before that. And Ethan Page is a former NXT champion. They put the title on him. I don't know what direction they're going on with him. There is that possibility they could be pushing him up to the main roster. Excuse me. Or they could be dropping these titles and retaining these titles left and right, you know, kind of having these short reigns, which I think are a little idiotic, in my opinion. Excuse me. But I do expect a good match. I'm a fan of both, but considering they just had Ricky Starks pick up the win, it would make more sense for him to retain. But we know the Sean Spears storyline going on. But then again, it is possible that Sean Spears could be called up to the main roster. We don't know. That could be one of the reasons why he dropped the title, because he could be making his main roster return slash re-debut, either on Raw or SmackDown, the Raw and SmackDown after WrestleMania. It's really hard, but I'm going with Ricky Saints on this one. We have a 6-man tag team match. It'll be the D'Angelo family, which is going to consist of Tony D'Angelo, Channing Stacks Lorenzo, and Luca Crucifino. With Adriana Rizzo taking on the Dark State, which is Dion Lennox, Cutler James, and Saquon Sugars, and or Cyrus Griffin. This is going to be a good match, but I feel like this is where we're going to get the heel turn from Channing Stacks. There's been some tension there between him and Tony, and the most recent episode of NXT kind of showed that. A lot of people believe that Channing Stacks Lorenzo is behind Dark State, and is kind of playing as if he's being attacked, and we've kind of seen it with with what is that team with Santo Escobar when he was in NXT, when Del Cruz and Joaquin Wilde were getting attacked and then abducted, and then we come to find out they become this team. I feel like that's kind of similar, kind of in a way of Mustafa Ali being part of Retribution, where we're going to see this character, we're going to see Channing get attacked, but it being all part of the plan. It's kind of like Aces and Eights, where Bully Ray was getting attacked, but then we find out later it was part of his plan to make it seem like he wasn't part of the Aces of Eights, but in reality, he was the one in charge pulling the strings. I feel like we're going to get a similar story with that, where Channing is the man behind everything. He's the leader of the Dark State, there is that possibility. It could be a long stretch, but I'm going with Dark State here. They're making a statement for themselves, and it makes more sense for them to be part of it. There is going to be that tension between Angelo and Stax, so I'm going with Dark State. And then lastly, we have Obi Femi defending his NXT championship against Trick Williams and Javon Evans. This is going to be a fantastic match. I do truly believe that Trick Williams is on his way to the main roster, and this is probably going to be his last NXT match, so I don't see him winning. Obi Femi, I feel like there is that possibility of him also going to the main roster. I feel like Trick Williams will be more on the SmackDown brand to pick up the feud with him and Carmelo Hayes. and then Obafemi going to Raw. There is that possibility. Obafemi could end up retaining, which I do feel like is going to happen. But they're really pushing Javon Evans to be a big name, and what perfect way to put him in the ring with Obafemi and Trick Williams. Now, as we all know, usually if you've been a wrestling fan for a long time and you watch how certain things go, like Javon Evans did a double cutter, springboard cutter on both Obafemi and Trick Williams. So that kind of, if you're a wrestling fan, usually the person who gets the kind of the upper hand on the show, the last show before the PLE, usually is the one that loses. That's usually how we've kind of, like a prime example. If Gunther got the upper hand on Jey Uso, then we know Jey Uso would win the next night. Something similar to that. I think they've tried to change it to not make it too predictable. It's hard to say, but I'm going with Obafemi retaining his title, Trick Williams going to the main roster, this being his last match, and the fans, he'll be the one that gets pinned, and that's where the fans will, kind of say their goodbye and cheer him on, thank you, Willie, thank you, Trick, and Javon Evans will kind of get, back into Obafemi's way and saying, I didn't lose. I wasn't the one who was pinned. And this will lead into another showdown between the two at the next PLE. So there you have it. Those are my predictions for WWE's NXT Stand and Deliver 2025. Do a quick recap for the Fatal 4-Way for the number one contender for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. I have Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade. For the ladder match to determine who is going to be the new Women's North American Champion, I'm going with Zarya. For the Fatal 4-Way match for the NXT Women's Championship, I'm going with Jordynne Grace. For the tag team, NXT Tag Team Championships between Fraxium and Hank and Tank, I'm going with Hank and Tank. For Ricky Saints versus Ethan Page for the NXT North American Championship, I'm going with Ricky Saints. For the 6-man tag team match, I'm going with between Dark State and the D'Angelo family. I cannot speak. I'm still trying to wake up. I'm going with Dark State. And for the main event, for the triple threat match for the NXT Championship between Obafemi, Trick Williams, and Javon Evans, I'm going with Obafemi picking up the win, retaining, and Trick Williams being the one who gets pinned. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to my predictions. Hope you guys enjoyed, and if you enjoyed, give it a thumbs up. It's very much appreciated. And if you are a wrestling fan and you have your predictions, let me know down in the comment section below who you predict will win these matches. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content. I just don't do wrestling predictions like this. I do a lot of stuff that's film related. Most of the time, movies, like unboxings, movie reviews, a closer look, so much more. So yeah, I'm going to put the link to my eBay store down in the description below. I started to notice that when you upload your videos to YouTube, especially through the app, eBay has a requirement now to, if you have a paid promotion in your videos, to add it. And they do consider, after doing research last night, it is considered eBay, a link to my eBay store is considered a paid promotion because I am mentioning my store, trying to get people to check it out and possibly in return make a sale, which I get paid for. So yeah, so for anybody who does have an eBay store and a YouTube channel and likes to promote their store, yeah, it is considered a paid promotion. So I do have to start adding that into my videos if I mention it. So letting you guys be aware of that. But the link to my store, which is called Awesome Things We Love, the link will be down in the description. I have a wide variety of things, men's and women's clothing. I have DVDs and some Blu-rays, movies that I either have already upgraded or I just no longer watch, will be on there. And if you're looking to find something that may interest you, message me through the eBay, website or app, depending on what you're using. And I'm always willing to work out some type of deal, especially if you're interested in multiple items. And that's what I kind of try to stay focused on, are movies and clothing. But there's also a few other things like CDs and some collectibles and things like that. So if that's something you're interested in, then definitely check out my eBay store. Any sales that I make go to a good cause, to multiple good causes. Trying to get back on my feet, get myself completely out of debt, save up for a new car, uh, you know, um, invest in the channel. I'm looking to start a podcast and just a wide range of things. It also helps me invest in my eBay store and things like that. You potentially buy prizes for a giveaway. So the funds that I make, it does go towards something really good. And not only that, eBay has changed their requirements to pay taxes. So eBay is now considered a income for me, considering that if you make $2,500 in sales, you will have to pay taxes. And I'm getting close to that, and the year's not even over. So it is considered my job. So yeah, like I said, any sale that I make goes towards something good. Wish I could say more. Yeah, it's shameless plug, but what can you do? But I'm Film Talk with Mikey. Till next time, guys, we'll talk films. You guys have a good one. Take care, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.